What happened? Come on, hold on, actually, give me back. Àwọn tí àyè ń lọ kó máa rí. Adájọ́ yà mí sí. Prof, ṣé ẹ̀ pa ní ẹ̀yìn tí tẹ́ máa dúró rẹ̀? Ó kù wá tà. Oh. Abi. What's that? Rob, shout, shout, shout. Kíkẹ́ lọ́mọ Àjàyí. Kíkẹ́ lọ́mọ. Many presenters. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. So 1 is my life. Okay. You must presenters are please, if you're a presenter, please come and sit down. Ikeloma is online. Don't take it off. John Odo. John Odo. Okay. Michelle Saud.
Okay, what is the background to what?
Todo dia, não apresento.
Eu vou ali parar agora, eu vou ali de lá de dentro. I want to go. I know. What you got to buy him? You want to clip for them now. People, what you got to go work?
Should we wait?
No, we can start to.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning. Kikalamo, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. I want to welcome everyone to Beyond Clinic panel organized by Professor Adeyemi, Johnson Ademowo, and Moradeke Badru Abiodun, all from Afe Babalola University. And if I may say, this is one of the most interesting panel in LSA 2025. And I'm sure everyone will agree with me. Man up now. Thank you. So we'll be having robust and interesting deliberation about health beyond the clinics. What is it that we need to know and we need to do to take public health beyond the chance theory? And according to WHO definition of health, even in itself, that health is not just mere absence of, infirmity or diseases. It also includes a lot of things. And, looking at public health itself, it's a whole lot to talk with. And this morning, we are going to start with Kike Lomo Ajayi's presentation. Kike Lomo, you have 20 minutes for your presentation. And after the 20 minutes, we take questions for her. And hopefully other presenters will join us as we go on. Thank you so much. Kike Lomo, you are on.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
My paper is titled Yoruba Proverbs, Hygiene and Disease Prevention. I'll start with the premise that the Yoruba traditional society is deeply rooted in oral tradition, where proverbs are used to transmit knowledge, values, and cultural norms across generations. These proverbs are metaphorical sayings that encapsulate a wealth of indigenous wisdom, and they provide insights into the various aspects of life, including health, hygiene, and disease prevention. This particular presentation explores the relationship between Yoruba proverbs and the promotion of hygiene and disease prevention. We believe that proverbs are not mere linguistic artifacts, but they serve as practical guides for maintaining individual and communal well-being. The paper illuminates the idea that health and disease that existed within traditional Yoruba thought and how proverbs may be used or were used to ameliorate them. The theoretical framework for this work is ethnolinguistics. It's the study of how language relates to culture and identity. The field deals with relationship between languages and culture and the way different ethnic groups view the world. Of course, we know that by examining Yoruba proverbs that deal with hygiene and health, we'll be able to identify the Yoruba worldview about health issues and how to manage such. In the Yoruba society, proverbs are referred to as owe, and they're not just witty sayings. They're integral to communication, education, and social control. We see them as philosophical reflections of happenings in the society or events in the society. They offer profound insights into the human condition, destiny, and the nature of the world. For example, when the Yoruba people say "Ilera logun oro," that is, health is wealth. They're trying to say that without good health, you cannot plan to be wealthy. To prevent disease and to ensure good hygiene among the Yoruba people, although in the traditional society, of course, we know that they were faced with various health challenges. And without modern scientific understanding of germs and pathogens, they developed strategies for maintaining health, and these strategies were often based on keen observation and empirical knowledge. Yoruba people believe that ill health can be as a result of natural causes, for example, as a result of poor sanitation, unhealthy habits, and they can also be as a result of supernatural forces like divine displeasure and activities of witches. However, even with supernatural explanation, the importance of practical preventive measures was recognized. Now, let's look at Yoruba proverbs on hygiene and disease. under the following aspects. 1, personal cleanliness. Personal hygiene is a cornerstone of health, and several Yoruba proverbs underscore its importance. There's a proverb that says, "Ìmọ́tótó borí àrùn mọ́lẹ̀, ọyẹ́ ti borí ooru." That is, cleanliness neutralizes diseases as harmattan dispels heat. That means that if one is clean, if one ensures cleanliness, then one can be assured that one will overcome so many diseases. And of course, that ensures that hygiene is maintained. Another one says that a kì í fi ìtìjú kárùn. One's acts of shine should not lead to the spread of diseases. Personally, when you are ill, you want to consult people that can be of assistance to you. So the Yoruba people believe that you must call others to assist you when you want to ensure personal health. 2, environmental sanitation. The immediate surroundings greatly influence health, and Yoruba proverbs encourage keeping the environment clean. We have like 2 proverbs there. One says, "Ìlú kì í kéré tí ó má ní àìtàn, kó má ní àtàn." No matter how little a town is, it must have a refuse dump. That means that Yoruba people believe that you don't just trash items anyhow, you must properly dispose them. And when that is done, of course, environmental sanitation and cleanliness will prevent diseases. Another one says, "Àgbà tí ilẹ̀ tí bíbálẹ̀ ilé nínú." Àgbà tí ilẹ̀ tí bíbálẹ̀ ilé nínú. Unpacked refuse that annoys the house owner. That is, if you sweep and you refuse to pack and you refuse to trash, you refuse to dispose properly, the house owner will feel uncomfortable, will feel displeased. That shows that Yoruba people believe a lot in environmental sanitation. We also look at food and water hygiene. Food and water hygiene. The proverb says that omi tí kò ṣàn síwájú, tí kò ṣàn sẹ́yìn, ní domi ọ̀gọ̀dọ̀ àtomi ẹ̀gbin. Omi tí kò ṣàn síwájú, tí kò ṣàn sẹ́yìn, ní domi ọ̀gọ̀dọ̀ àtomi ẹ̀gbin. That means that proverb means that the stream that neither flows forward nor backward is usually muddy and dirty. That proverb will easily tell one that when you see water that is stagnant, you shouldn't take such because it's muddy and it is dirty. This particular proverb also deals with food. Although it's not directly related to health, I think I want to bring it forward. It says, "Ebi ní ṣílẹ̀kùn fún ikú." Yes, it's related to that. Ebi ní ṣílẹ̀kùn fún ikú. Hunger opens the door to death. That if you keep on fasting every day, you refuse to eat, then you are preparing to die. And it tells us the importance of nutrition in wellness. We also look at proverbs under personal habits and healthy lifestyle. Personal habits and healthy lifestyle. The proverb says, "Afagbádá gun kẹ̀kẹ́, ara ikú ló ń yá." Afagbádá gun kẹ̀kẹ́, ara ikú ló ń yá. One who rides a bicycle wearing a flowing gown, that is a Yoruba traditional male attire, is hurrying to death. Naturally, one is not expected to wear a flowing garment while riding. Afagbádá gun kẹ̀kẹ́, am I still with you people? Hello?
We are with you. You are on Afagbada Gukeke.
Thank you. The people wearing a flowing gown is hurrying to death. Riding a bicycle with agbada can cause an accident. Talking about personal habits and healthy lifestyle, the proverb says that "Eyi funfun lọ̀ṣọ́ ẹnu, eyi funfun lọ̀ṣọ́ ẹnu, white / clean teeth are the ornament of good health." Of course, you cannot have except you take proper care of your teeth, which means that one should clean one's teeth, one's mouth on daily basis. Talking about the essence of good health, a proverb says that kò sóhun tó tún lè yọ ká jí kára ó le. Nothing is greater in life than being healthy and healthy always. Of course, I've already talked about the proverb that says that without good health, one cannot create wealth. So we realize that Yoruba proverbs in all are not just linguistic artifacts. They're not just used to decorate, but they provide rich repository of indigenous knowledge, and in this case, knowledge regarding hygiene and disease prevention. And I believe that by understanding and appreciating the profound insights embedded within these ancient sayings, we bridge the gap between traditional wisdom and
Kike.
Yeah, I'm done with my presentation.
You repeat the conclusion just in 2 minutes.
Okay, the conclusion that Yoruba proverbs represent a rich repository of indigenous knowledge regarding hygiene and disease prevention, that they're not just linguistic artifacts, they're not just used maybe for decoration, and that by understanding and appreciating the profound insights embedded within these ancient sayings, we can bridge the gap between traditional wisdom and contemporary public health needs. Thank you.
Thank you, Kike Lomo, for your beautiful presentation. And thank you for giving us all the proverbs. And, they are knowledge through which we have traditional wisdom about health, promoting health, and reflecting deep into healthy living, not only about communicable or non-communicable diseases alone. So while we have that, we're going to take chat presentation, and after that, we can take all the questions. So please note your questions, and chat, you have 2 minutes. So,
Thank you. I want to be good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Charles Piwole from University of Ibadan. I'm here to present a paper titled Nigeria Public Health Discourse, the interplay of tradition and colonialism. Basically, like I said earlier, I set out on research to investigate if truly we have an outstanding traditional healthcare system building to the Europeans. And I try to, of course, conceptualize traditional healthcare system vis-a-vis modern healthcare system. I take a step further, also looking at I focus on 3 groups in Nigeria, the traditional healthcare system before the coming of the Europeans. I look at the Yoruba society, I look at the Hausa society, I also look at the Igbo society. Then I proceeded further by looking at the challenges of the folks' healthcare system. Because of my research, I discovered that, of course, before the coming of the Europeans, we have an outstanding healthcare system. And of course, the coming of the Europeans also, we can't deny the fact that they also have a kind of advanced healthcare system. Although, of course, it's much starting to we are advanced to confirm that validity. But the point Nigeria is that I would like to proceed with this research work. So the first is the introduction, in which I try to make a clarity known that before the Europeans, we have an outstanding civilization on ground. And this civilization, of course, it's not just really some political aspect or the economic aspect, but also the social cultural aspects, in which I want to face it in our healthcare system. As for centuries of millennium, the ancient Egyptians We have an understanding healthcare system in which has been stated or noted that the Romans, the Greek, they got a lot of healthcare techniques, okay, in terms of surgery, in terms of other aspects also. Then also, I consider that making us understand the fact because the European sources, their healthcare system, which they claim is modern, they claim it's outstanding, sophisticated, it's something that they were not initially practicing. It came to them over time with certain development, certain development and progress in research in their own geographical territory. Then I also that by looking at the consideration of healthcare system, looking at the traditional healthcare system and the modern healthcare system. But the traditional healthcare system, basically, because I realized that I defined from various parameters, various angles. I think one of the definitions I could say is that the fact that it is completely original, which originated from a group, spread from generation to another, and noted for its acceptability, affordability, and availability within any particular group or society. Basically, the point to note now is just that because of my research, I discovered that the modern healthcare system we are talking about today, before it gets to that point, before it gets to that level, there was a particular healthcare system that has been practiced, that is in usage by various groups, various civilizations on this earth. Now, the point now is that traditional healthcare system is that first healthcare system, that first point of contact when it comes to welfare, when it comes to taking care of one's own health, various groups' healthcare, their healthcare system. And also, I proceed further talking about the fact that traditional medicine is a service which is performed explicably through the application of magical, religious, and concepts. The point now is that, of course, in trying to ridicule or trying to dislodge or dislocate the superiority of the traditional healthcare system, the egocentric views will put it that African traditional healthcare system basically it is mostly they confuse it, they believe that it's magical or it's mostly magical in or what have you. But the point is it is not just about magic because it's mostly explicable and inexplicable also. That is, there are some parts of traditional healthcare system in Africa. There are some, if you look at it, and if you take a closer look at it, a closer approach in examining it, we understand the fact that it has the explicable aspect. That is, where we can prove it through inquiry. We can understand why an herbalist makes a particular drugs, a particular ailment or sickness, and we can understand the fact that in some aspects also, the herbalist or traditional healthcare provider, they make some certain ways, means to heal their patients, which is inexplicable. That's it. And also, I want to proceed further talking about modern healthcare system conceptualization of it also. Of course, the modern healthcare system is also known as orthodox or Western healthcare system, which is usually associated with the advanced countries of Europe and America. And it's important to note that in this current time, it has also been associated to countries like Japan, China, and India, all in the Far East region. Also, it is important to note that this Western orthodox form of healthcare system is believed to be the most refined and the most refined and the probability of boosting its position with regard to quantitative and qualitative medication and facilities. Then I proceed further looking at traditional healthcare system in Nigeria. Of course, I stated the fact that traditional healthcare system is the oldest form of healing in Africa and even among the ancient Greek, Babylonians, Chinese, Indians, and Jews. Traditional healthcare system has its roots in the cultures and traditions of the people. It is important to know that traditional healthcare systems have evolved through different epochs of history in Africa, which has underwent an enormous transformation through long age contacts within Africans and among Africans, and more importantly with the outside world. Then I would like to quickly go on to move on to the three books I focus on. I did some extensive research on, especially the Yoruba people, in which I explained the fact that Yoruba people are the Yoruba land, traditional medicine is closely associated with the social cultural environment, which is noted in their worldview. Healings were done through herbs, roots, and other traditional materials such as honey, plants, roots, animal products, among others. It is remarkable to point out that healings were also conducted through sacrifices, rituals, and incantations, which is believed to speed up the healing process of a patient prior to the contrast of the Europeans and the missionaries. Traditional health system was found in Yoruba land. Okay, I also make an assertion that this traditional healthcare system or traditional native doctor also, or medical practitioner. They are divided up, they have various categories, but I focus more on the three aspects, whereby we have the diviners, the herbalists, and the priests, or the shrine priests. Now, the diviners, basically, they are known as Babalawo, who is able to diagnose the causative agent of a sickness or misfortune, and then prescribe necessary steps, which mostly involves the use of sacrifice, which may be to appease the gods of supernatural beings. That is, in the Yoruba system, in the Yoruba traditional healthcare system, before the encounter of the Europeans, and even in this current era, they have the three major healthcare givers or providers. We have the diviners, the herbalists, and the shrine priests. Now, the diviners are known as Babalawo, and these are individuals who diagnose. These are individuals who can easily understand the sickness or ailment of a particular individual or family or lineages or what have you through their various interpretations, through their various rituals, through their various skills, which is passed to them through generations. Now, also we have the herbalist. The herbalist is known also as Paoloki or Adaunse. Now, these herbalists, these are individuals who are versatile in the knowledge of herbs. They have possess necessary features that can cure any sickness, which most is referred to them. It is important to point out that the Elegboki or the Adaunse is not mostly concerned with incantations, ritual, and sacrifices, but concentrated on the herbal medicine, which is capable and rational in healing the patient's sickness and ailments. We can see that there's a major distinction between the herbalists and the diviners and the diviners and herbalists. The diviners basically, they are individuals who are to diagnose sickness of their patient. They usually consult the oracle, the Ifa, or what have you. While the herbalists basically, they are specialized. They're not concerned about the use of ritual or incantation or what have you. Of course, they possess this knowledge skills, but they usually use it most of the time. What they do is that they are specialized in examining their patients and also prescribing, concocting, or whatever ways to ensure the perfect healing of their patient, their specific patients. Then we have the shrine priest, of course. The shrine priest, of course, this is the native doctor, of course. The shrine priests are also called Babalosha or Onimali, who perform rituals related to pets. They mostly offer sacrifice for individuals or the community in order to appease the gods or thank the gods. These individuals are significant in sociocultural setting in Yoruba land. Basically, I would like to move on to the Hausa people most of the time. Now, the Hausa people, of course, they are also a major ethnic group in Nigeria. They dominated in northern part of the country, of course. In the level of traditional healthcare, traditional healthcare, they make use of medicinal plants in diagnosing, treating, and curing sick patients. Curing sick patients. The Hausa people are said by various traditional healthcare practitioners who possesses the ability to mobilize spiritual or supernatural forces for daily purpose and also to procure the necessary medicinal herb needed for treatment. Also, it is important to know that they have various healers ranging from Malam, herbalists, and spiritualists known as Boka, and the Malama Taurari. The Malam are the healers who use the medicine, who use the Quran to treat every diseases. Of course, we know the fact that the Islam has been, in northern region for a long time past. I think around the 10th century, that is through the Cannibal Empire and as such. Of course, it appears that they possess some certain practices skills to aid their people, members of the community, their various communities. Of course, you have the herbalists, you have the spiritualists, and of course, they are not that much different from they are not much different from the herbalists and the traditional method clinics in balance. But the point now is related to that, of course, they follow the same pattern. It is mostly associated with that and cultural origin or background of their various communities. Then also, let me quickly move on because of time. Let me move on to, of course, we all put the advantage of the Western healthcare system we have today, which appears is dominant in our healthcare system, although it's only in name, not in reality, because in reality, we understand the fact that most Nigerians, according to my research, I discovered that most Nigerians, in fact, 80% of Nigerians, they mostly make use of traditional healthcare system. However, it's important to know that the modern healthcare system seems to gain more prominence in terms of looking at how government operates, how in terms of budget, healthcare budget, it's mostly for the Western care. It's mostly to develop their modern healthcare infrastructure. It's mostly to pay their medical Western healthcare, Western trained professionals or practitioners. It's mostly to focus on getting modern equipment and facilities for their Western healthcare, Western healthcare trained professionals. However, it's important to know that traditional healthcare practitioners in Nigeria, in West Africa, and even in Africa, over the years, due to the long relationship, due to the long, relationship between and among between the herbalist and Western care physicians, they are developing at a fast pace. Today we have traditional healthcare practitioners who have standing medical facility or medical facilities, healthcare facilities. They have patients, they have wards. People go to them for drugs. In fact, it has been stated in my research, I discovered that most Nigerians would prefer to use traditional healthcare system, or they start their treatment in traditional healthcare system and eventually ending with modern healthcare system, Western healthcare system. Or in some instances, or rather in most instances, according to my research, I realized that most Nigerians would prefer to begin with modern healthcare system and eventually end their healthcare treatment with traditional healthcare system. I would like to end it for some time.
Thank you, Charles. Okay, Wale, for your presentation. That's very interesting. Talking about traditional healthcare system and the colonialism in Nigeria. And then he has actually spoken about different parts of Nigeria, different ethnic group in Nigeria. And I want to believe that we have noted our comments, questions, and clarifications for him. Do we still have anyone presenting in this panel here? No. So I think we take the first 5 questions and comments. Then we go again after the first 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Who is going to be the 5th person? Okay, so we start like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, then procedure 5. Yes. Please tell us your name, where you are from, your affiliation, and
good morning, everyone. My name is Gabriel of University of Mississippi. So my question goes to Charles. Charles, your research is absolutely interesting. But from what I together from what you said, you are trying to your work is more or less comparative invention, right? Because this side. But my questions and my concern is about the manageable period. Because I'm feeling, you doing 2 centuries already. And then you're doing 2 centuries traditional, which is pre-colonial and colonial. And these are kind of a large research. So I don't know how you want to. I'm trying to raise the concern. How do you try to manage the periodization? Are you colliding the 2 centuries together? Are you trying to make it thematic? Or is there a particular period from maybe the late pre-colonial and early colonial? Is it the period I'm trying to get concerned? So how do you want to manage that?
Okay, can we have the second person? We take all questions.
Okay, thank you. My name is Bjorn. I have questions for Charles. Instead of more online, I would like to start with Charles. Thank you for that presentation. But then I have this state, starting from the title of your paper, I see disparities in use of words from the title of your work, and I think there should be a recast. I think the title says that Nigerian public health discuss the interplay of traditional colonialism. The word traditional colonialism as underlined it there. Look at this. Let's say conference has become a yearly event or happens every year, so it becomes a tradition. So then I say, what about traditional? Then colonialism. I strike that one out. What about modern public health? Because I hear you say something like modern healthcare system is what we are talking about, and you even use another synonym. You say Western healthcare. If something is Western or Westernization or modern, you're already you are going away from reality. So I'm talking from the literary theory perspective now. Coloniality does not surface here. What I see here is engaging modern public health and just opposing that with traditional healthcare services. And I write this like minds work together. I see my brother has seen what I write here. I said your work seems toward comparative analysis, interrogating traditional and modern public health. So now the topic now from my perspective now should be Nigerian public health discourse, the interplay of traditional and modern public health. So that the word tradition people and the word colonialism people. So they will now have the interplay of traditional and modern public health. And then I say that can you now see the use of word from my LSA conference? It's a yearly business. So it becomes a tradition. And the reason for calling out your title. And if you are doing something comparative, then which comparative theory formulates your theoretical framework? I didn't see you use any theory or talk about any theoretical framework, but your presentation is just being mere narrative. So, and on the online, I say that many of the cited Yoruba proverbs are unfamiliar. Sorry to say that, though they do not need to be familiar to anyone before you can go ahead to write your paper. But pay attention to categorization of Yoruba proverbs. And I put this down. I say many of your proverbs are not categorized. We have Owe Igbalode, we have Owe Lati Inu Ijinle Ede Yoruba, and then we have Ashamo. And many of your proverbs looks to me like Ashamo or Ayolu Oro. So please look at the categorization and theorize where all your proverbs so that you can have a big paper. Thank you.
Thank you.
So actually,
Yes. I'm going to put up my observation is that I, in addition to what I've said, I want you to look at any sort of security posture to submissions that I finish statement that I Western and South. Next. Maybe if you can conceptualize yourself to help you navigate properly against what conceptualizing within the periods. Thank you.
thank you. Paul?
Yes. My first comment on my presenter, that say that there might be need to properly give a focus or tell us the scope of what you're looking at. You are saying Yoruba proverbs, hygiene, and disease prevention. I will not look at what kind of diseases are we looking at. Is the NCDs or the communicable diseases? Are we saying that proverbs and hygiene will be sufficient in preventing, non-communicable diseases, for instance, congenital heart disease like hole in the heart? How can proverb or hygiene help in preventing that? Then another fundamental thing is that I find it very difficult to agree with the author that the right word would be health promotion instead of disease prevention. Health promotion, just as I noted down, would focus on empowering individuals and communities to increase control over their health and well-being through positive lifestyle and supportive environment, which is the bulk of what the author has described through hygiene and all of that. On the other side, disease prevention, which was the word, the diction that the author used, to refer to the actual or specific measures to prevent the occurrence of diseases, reduce their risk, or manage their consequences. So when you look at these two things, sometimes people erroneously use them interchangeably, but there are two separate terms in public health: health promotion, disease prevention. And in the case of this presentation, I think the best word to be health promotion rather than disease prevention. And to Mr. Chow, I think I find it a little bit problematic if we're looking at traditional healthcare system and the modern healthcare system from a lens of superiority. It should not be. It should be a thing of both sides have their good, bad, and ugly. And what we should do at this point, we've tested both. We've gone through that phase of traditional medicine, traditional healthcare system, and again, we've also gone through that period of modern healthcare. By now, we should be able to decipher what was good, what can be integrated, from the traditional to what we are having now. You agree with me that a whole lot of our practices in those traditional healthcare systems are not things that we want to encourage in this age and time. Recently, I read the work of Chief Odumbaku Sabara, who was part of the people who developed the smallpox vaccine, which we will call Shopono. In those medieval days, Shopono was even used as a tool for punishment and even for extortion. People, inflict others with Shopono and all of that before somebody like him had to come up with others to develop even the vaccine. So there were a whole lot of practices in those traditional periods that we wouldn't say it was good enough. Another is FGM. We wouldn't say it's a practice that we should continue with in this age and time. But then there were good things that we can adopt, that we can bring into this modern days. But really, it should not be about superiority, which one is best or not. There should be a way that we can marry the two, the good side of the two, and we can have a better healthcare system.
Thank you. Professor Ademo.
Okay, I first want to thank the two presenters. I allowed also I won't repeat what I've said. But I want to call everyone's attention to just the aspect of pricing. Rather than use plan or program, kind of proverbial. Proverbials are loud. They don't have to be proverbs, the structure of proverbs. Not all proverbs follow the structure of proverbs. All proverbs don't have to align with the structure of proverbs. Most people don't have to parts, And it can be, when you use proverbial, you don't have to start explaining with validity or with anything. So whatever it is, if you use proverbial, it covers a lot and it saves a lot of stress. Then again, I also align with whether to consider the title again, whether it's prevention or promotion. I think you should take a second look at your work. I think you should take a second look and probably go back into the literature and see how you can find a way to look at your title again. We know it's your work, that creates your work, but we feel you should go into the literature and take a second look at some of the observations. I also feel that your methodology might not be clear, maybe because of the time frame you have. So please let us know how you come about this proverbial and some of this other stuff.
She's gone offline.
Oh, she's offline. Okay.
I think yes, she's back.
Oh, she's back. Okay, so it should be good if you can do that. And also your theoretical framework when you are trying to explain. Majority of us based on our theoretical framework, then throw it away when we're analyzing our findings. We're not able to situate the work within a contemporary paradigm, which we are contributing to. I also saw that, and that is something I think you should take a look at. Please, we know it's your work, I repeat, please go into the literature, see how we can find a way to achieve this. Okay, Charles. Okay, I feel that you are it's a very wonderful paper, very ambitious. I think you should take a look at what Mississippi had also said. Very wonderful paper. You tradition, colonialism. You are happy. Thank you. That's all. I mean, I won't repeat what you have said. But basically, I mean, I don't know the data you have. But this is what sometimes I feel you give us feedback. If you feel that there's something otherwise, look at your data and the senses way you are using it. You know, I don't feel we should all write the same. I'm sorry, with all due respect. If you all write the same way, then we are going to all be, you know, nobody's going to be a Nobel laureate. So we are not alive, we are not trying to mushroom you to, but your data must speak to what you are doing. And we must write the way that follows structure that the journals, for instance, John I might not accept the way you have written this, and they will say the structure. You understand? So I feel that I've been aligned with those missions that you take a look at your title, very ambitious, and some of the variables have comma, they get small comma. But the data you have, just like the man of yesterday, very, too many, like almost a whole century packed together in a paper. You know, you feel you want with the normally what you use to write 5 papers, you are using it to write one paper. What exactly is your research questions? Actually, maybe that will guide us. You know, that also applies to Kike Lovo. What research question are you dealing with? You know, if you are saying this is what you want to now, I wrote some things you said here, but you also said maybe I should not go there. Maybe you tell this is what you want to do. Without saying, okay, by the time you are presenting, we can align your data. I think most people who presented have seen, if I'm able to get some funding, well, I hope that the London Club of IG will give us and Madam Peisharata, who's another one or two other good girls. It's a good work. But maybe if you're able to tell us this is what you want to do. By the time you are presenting your data and you are trying to roll out what you have done, we can now say, this is not aligned with what you set out to do. But at the beginning, what you say you want to do, confusion one there. There's confusion. You understand? Well, it might be confusion, but it look like confusion to us. Maybe you need to clarify it and make it clear. Wonderful contributions. We appreciate you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Ademowo. Before you respond to those comments, I also want to say that for Kike Lomo and Charles, when you were presenting, what I was also asking is what exactly is the gap? Then what's new in what you're presenting? Because Kike Lomo, there have been a lot of work or literature on public health and programs. And then for Charles, what you're talking about is not really new, but we want to know what is new that you are bringing out of all this. And I think that we bring out the beauty of what you have done. So thank you. Kike Lomo, we take your response now. Kike Lomo, are you there?
Thank you very much. Although I didn't get some of the comments, but I think someone was talking about the need for me to categorize those proverbs, to mention the types they are. Well, in this context, I don't think this is really necessary. But I believe that I need to talk about promotion. Yes, I agree with that. Using proverbs to maintain hygiene and also for promotion. Then about the theoretical framework of the need for me to marry the framework with the content. I think I'm going to work on that. Thank you very much.
Okay. Charles.
Okay, thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, the 5 comments, I believe comment 2, comment 3, it's basically advice to get all of the advice suggestion outcome that's released by the study on. But I'll be addressing the question. I mean, it's 1, 4, comment 5 also is very it's noted, well noted, I work on that. But then let's just focus, I want to focus on question 1 and question. I'm going for 1 and 4. Let me start with comment 4. Superiority, about superiority, your comments about superiority. Okay, of course. I am not trying to showcase or portray that national healthcare system is more superior than Western healthcare system. Actually, in this work, what I'm trying to say is that traditional healthcare system is not as redundant as they claim. Of course, let's face it. Yes, of course, you stated some certain practices, certain belief system, cultural system that has been in practice centuries ago on this scope. I mean, on this spatial education. Now, the point now to note is that regardless of all the practices or the ills, there are still some good aspects also. After all, these are what they have been using to take care of this, I mean, to take care of their, their healthcare system before the culture of the Europeans. Now, in terms of the Western healthcare system, of course, I'm not saying it's I'm not saying it is not superior also. I'm not trying to create a superiority or contest between the both. What I'm saying right now is that these two, of course, in fact, we don't even need to have any superiority content or any contest between these two because they go hand in hand. That is why I stated that because of this research, I discovered that a good number of Nigerians, they will either be beginning with our traditional healthcare system or they end with our Western healthcare system. That is, when I mean Western healthcare system, I'm talking about that healthcare system that was brought to us. Not one we developed by ourselves, that was brought for us in this complex actualization, organization. I'm just trying to make us understand the fact that the traditional and the Western healthcare system, the traditional healthcare system basically is a practice which we have been living with for centuries. While the Western healthcare system basically it is it still needs to use whether it's a new system that was introduced to us. That's for comment 4. Comment 1, I really appreciate and talking about how do I manage the period, organization of course. We all know that when we talk about traditional healthcare system, I mean when to end traditional, of course it depends on contextualization. Of course, I think a comment I was said about this LSA of this program, this association, this language, it's now every year, which can also be seen as traditional. But the one is in this paper, what I'm just posting, what I'm posting is the fact that traditional healthcare system. I'm talking about the fact that this healthcare system that has been with us before this period and it's still with us. Now, the point is, what's the healthcare system? Whether this what the modern healthcare system, that is this modern hospitals and what have been, okay, something that came to us because of our interaction between us and Africans and Europeans. That's what I'm talking. That's why it is. Actually, Israel that's not actually the original of the question. It was because of everything just the files to be cast and so. So maybe perhaps I work on the casting, looking at this, taking a closer look on the paper and try to look at where some and make an adjustment.
Thank you for that response. I think we see about 30 minutes. We can still take like 5 more questions. Okay, 1. Comments, questions, 2. Okay, we start with 1.
I will comment the 2% as again, I have thoroughly enjoyed myself. However, I mean, first of all, goes with Dr. Charles. In your research, did you come across the work of Barry Allen at all? Barry Allen. Following what our friend here said, the title of that work is The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And it's the good, the bad, and the ugly. They work in African philosophy, looking at traditional medical practices. And it's situated in Ekiti, Ijon Ekiti. That Barry spends years and the African philosophy, ethnographical work on traditional medicine. And it's a problem. If you look at that work, you'll be able to pick some stuff that will work on your work. I mean, but if you're not seeing that work, it may amount to reinventing the way. Don't want to be so. Then the second point is that we want to Barry Allen. The second point is that you are trying to conceptualize the traditional medicine and compare it with modern medical practice. Well, a lot of time we have to be very careful, and so that we don't run into certain problems. The major problem with traditional medicine tomorrow is in the scientification of the medical or medicine or medical practice itself. people tilt towards Western science, for instance. By the time they bring their searchlights on traditional medicine, a lot of time find that somehow may be lacking in the major elements of science, the idea of replicability, complexity, and even parsimony. You need to be able to explain certain things in clear terms, which is at the cornerstone of Western science. So that's all I have. For the second presenter, that's
Ikelo, first presenter.
first presenter. We want to just look into your theory, ethno-linguistic theory. I do not think that actually explain your research. Thank you.
But 30 seconds. Yes.
Thank you for the presenter here. This is my clarification. I want to mention the work focused on three tribes, Hausa, Yoruba, and Ibibios. And you mentioned the traditional healthcare practitioners and focusing on the Yoruba for protection and specialization. You mentioned three of them. You mentioned for Hausa, but I never heard for Ibibio. I don't know if I'm the only one, but I would like to know what are these the practitioners, the traditional practitioners of Ibibio culture. Just with some.
Okay. Kikelo, what do you have? Let's have Kikelo first. Okay, she's hot. Charles.
Okay. This now for the of course the video.
She's ready.
So everybody. Now, okay, let me just give you for the interview. The other things is which is generally accepted as a means of duty and theory and service. And basically, they are majorly in Akwa in the States. That's Nigeria. And they think that healing is a process of becoming good, the process of connecting and reconnecting to significant relationship within the community. Now, it is important to know that they have, of course, they mostly have various practitioners depending on how they classify themselves. But you don't have to look at I realize that they have two aspects, two major practitioners. They have the Abia work. Yeah, and they have if they are I don't know that very well. If they are young, the Abalis are basically relying on the uses of apps. That they have the Abalis, they have some practitioners as the first, which is the Abia people, they are Abalis, and they're mostly focusing on the use of apps. And that of course treating their patient or telling their patient the sickness of illness. Whereas the Indian dogs, they are mostly like of course like embark also. They also embark on connecting, consulting the gods or performing some certain sacrifices or ritual so leaders to cure their patients.
Thank you. Okay. We've got Mr. Mississippi. Sorry, what? Okay, let's have a question.
Okay, Charles, it's not really a question this time, not a fun time. But I'm going to give you a hint that usually my professors always try to raise for historians. First of all, you should know that your work is in the historic mode, right? So you align it to history. So you ask the question, who do you want your work to speak to? Who is your audience? Right? I am interested in the history of medicine and public health, right? But now I'm listening to you, your work is not people to understand, right? So who should your audience be? It is your audience that will be work. It is your audience that will cite your work in the future, right? So now, from what you are saying, I can say your work is intercepting what they call the history of medicine, medical pluralism, right? And if you have people identify the literature of medical pluralism, right? So now that you identify with literature of medical pluralism, what are you bringing new? Because most literature of medical pluralism, such as Julie Livingstone, the ability and power imagination in Botswana, such as many other ones. All of them are arguing that people prefer, all of them are saying that people prefer traditional medicine. Some of them are saying that I'm saying that it is sanitarium, like people also patronize technology. So these things are, the ideas are changed. Now the administration is already going towards this horizon. What's new? Ask yourself, what should I bring new to mark a difference from the literature of medical pluralism? Right? Because these people are urgency. Once they see this tradition and interplay, people interested in merging traditional medicine and modern medicine or traditional medicine and whatever are going to be interested in the work. And you should speak something new and not allow the literature should not be something out there and it looks as if you're not bringing something new. Lastly, why? What difference has is, and so what? Now, if this happened, always ask yourself, and so what? My professor always tell me, why should I always bring in a paragraph? Why should a paragraph matter? Why should people read this? Anything you want to bring in, why should it matter in this work? It will make you to drive that argument to a logical conclusion because it matters. We want the audience to see something active, not for the fact. Also, the work is having a lot of detail. Why does this matter? All the detail you are bringing in, what argument are you going to be driving with it? So that when your work goes out there, people are not going to criticize you for not doing well what you want to do. So always make sure that everything you are bringing in will speak to a particular audience and should matter. I have a good factor. Thank you.
Okay, so now they okay.
Yeah, I think so the two presenters, the first presenter, someone mentioned earlier on that you know of those Yoruba positions she made were not necessary. Is she online? No, she's not. It's not. Oh, were not necessarily showbacks per se. You know, they are. They were not. They are not necessarily robots. They are sayings, and I believe that she's bringing in too much on the gospel, but she can actually do something by contextualizing it across space and time by focusing specifically on maybe just two and put it within a context of a society, then broaden it and bringing in other disciplinary methodologies to expand it, rather than just bring up the sayings on one space and try to work on it. So maybe for further research into the future, I will advise that you take them one by one and put it within a society or an event. You can even situate it within a policy, maybe within the colonial era or in contemporary times, maybe in Lagos, in Ibadan, Oslo. Take one saying, put it within the context of that policy in maybe Uto. Then you from there expand it. But then this is a space to learn. And as for Charles, yes, I keep asking the question that we need to really force a kind of marriage between what's traditional and we really don't need it. We should let each trade. We agree that we can't yet so there are people on TV and even that before we have corn, this part of both our chicken were actually eating the. So if that's the case, yes, before colonialism, there was a kind of health system. But should we try and force the marriage between that health system and other? No, it can't, because if medical doctors were to here, they will nod their heads at a lot of things that's happening that will try to bring in some traditional modern. They will keep asking questions. If you say you have produced herbs, certain ways to do something, they will tell you, they will ask you scientific questions. And questions that can actually fail by their own knowledge system. So if that's the case, I don't think we should just look at it as it is in the merits of the traditional and look at that other merit. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. We can still take one more comment or question. for the presenters, or you want to comment on what another comment, if you are free to do that. Okay.
Well, I'm just curious about the comment just made now on the concept of traditionally, what is traditional, what is modern, and the question I'm going to ask: who defines what is traditional and what is modern? And I think we have to be very careful when we use some of these terms. Some of them are just this kind of colonial, Western epistemologies, tagging some things. There is nothing that is not traditional. What belongs to the white is traditional to them. So when we now say traditional, and then there is this labeling of being crude, being non-civilized, being raw, not substantiated, not so concept like that. So you have to be very careful again when you want to demarcate traditional modernism or whatever. Sometimes these are just backlog of colonial, what they are fed into our mindsets, and they're thinking that what is ours is traditional, and what is theirs is civilized and modern.
Okay,
Make a clarification. But when I say traditional and modern, I'm not necessarily condemning.
Yes,
What we hold. I'm not condemning it. But what I'm trying to say is that the logic of science hasn't moved us to a stage that we can say this thing we have tested and trusted. But if that problem remains, that problem of knowledge remains. If that problem remains, let us leave the problem as it is and construct what we have within the construct of what we have. And look at the modern traditional health, modern health system as it is. For example, you have hospitals here and there. Let me give you an instance so that you understand what I'm saying. You must have had patients you have to treat. And maybe your great-grandmother in the village says, give her this apple, she will be fine. Now tell me, can you take that apple to meet your patient on the hospital bed? Will they allow you? If care is not taken, your hospital can actually arrest you for trying to complicate the process, for trying to cause trouble. They will tell you to sign. They will tell you to dama. What they call this? Maybe Dr. Mawale can help me explain. So we need to be careful. We should first of all understand what we are trying to do in order to know how to engage.
Wait. I think we need to take answers. Okay. I can take others. Okay.
I want to respond to that same thing. Sorry, man. In history, we have what we call social history of medicine, right? You are not necessarily looking at medicine for medicinal purposes. You are looking at medicine and how people take things, how to confine the people, interaction and the reactions when we social history of medicine. And when we study medicine, we are not studying it because we are not medical doctors. We are studying the people. Sometimes we are studying the environment. No, we are studying reactions and I did research for smallpox. And I'm working on vaccination. I don't know anything about it. I don't know the experimental process of it. But I'm looking at how people perceive vaccination, the distrust, and how they reacted to it. With the social aspect of it. So now, the aspect of what you are saying, man, if the comment of that aspect is right, because many medical insurance are talking about medical pluralism. He's looking at how people are interpreting the orthodox and non-orthodox medicine. That the is still right. So I'm not really agreeing with you that let's finish and stay. Because by the time if you allow it to stay, then we will not kind of bridge that gap between how people view medicine, the trust, and which one people prefer. So sometimes those studies can also we should really allow it. We are looking at it from the social perspective.
Dr. Adebayo. Dr. Adebayo, you can take your comment.
Okay. Yeah, so first of all, while I've changed your opinion to share, I'm sure that a lot of people here, particularly the previous commenter, it's a story and basically she understands
position that's presented, whether it's social medicine, social medicine and whatnot. But the point I think I'm trying to set down to here is that it's the problem of knowledge and intersubjective agreement or interdisciplinary subjective agreement or objective agreement between so-called traditional medicine and so-called modern. I'm not using those labels, if there's no agreement in terms of what constitutes objective knowledge about the different spheres, that will continue to have a serious conflict. And that for us to meaningfully move forward really in terms of developing medicine as we know it and as existed, prior to colonialism, prior to colonization and so-called Western modernity, we need to study African medicine in its own right. Yes. So and use that. So when you see Chinese people trying to match Western and so-called Chinese medicine is Chinese medicine, and it contains a lot of things, not just those Western-like medicine, but also there's indigenous that have been developed over time and perfected. So we are dealing with a crisis of modernity, where our problem is often trying to chase and chase and chase and chase. Everywhere you go, you say global best practices, this and that. We are always trying to align ourselves, with Western epistemic systems, which is a problem, because fundamentally, if you look at where these two so-called medical practices are sparked for, totally different. And we learn a lot of things in philosophy, in anthropology, in a lot of things that look, at times you just have to agree to disagree. But focusing on developing efficiency, particularly for African medicine, is very, very important.
Okay, madam. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Commenting on comments. So I agree with her, and I agree, and they have already said, I think it should just be, there should be no, like you said, take the good, and there is this, if I have to give an example, please one. When you come, I don't know if it's particular in Yoruba, there is this thing that the kind of illness in the east, something has been juju. They can drop on you, you march, and your leg begins to expand. Now, sometimes when it happens to people, they go traditional. And sometimes they go to medical. Now, we go to medical and they start fixing you, they give it name. Of course, when you go to the hospital, they give it. Then more time they get one, they go back to traditional. Sometimes get you, sometimes not. Now, sometimes they go to traditional, fair, like what you said, tap there, it gets worse. They come to hospital. So I think we have first case it come to hospital to get you. I think we have first case to go to traditional too, and they get you. So I think they should just be and not trying to do transmission in the best practice.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I just want to make a comment and to be very, very careful and it's still about the usage of language, especially when it comes to technology. Just like you said, whatever you call medical medicine or modern medicine today has its own thing. Our own also has its own thing. So nowadays, what we call traditional, no matter even if it's drug or whatever, has been modernized as well. We have a lot of people doing that going in the past. Today, you can buy it in the pharmacy store. They have tried to package it.
They are not modernizing, they are only packaging.
I'm coming. I'm coming. The one you buy before can still be the same thing. What the Univo did for you to is just packaging. The foods, just chemical, just for it to have a longer span of life. So now, we shouldn't look at it as whatever that comes from our own side is traditional. So now, even if it is traditional from us, now whatever that comes from them is modernized. No. The way we can modernize our own drugs, they are also modernizing their own on the daily basis. Everybody is going on their own way. So I think it's supposed to be very careful about Jesus.
Okay, thank you very much. Everybody,
One by one.
I appreciate the point of view. Unfortunately, I didn't listen to any of seconds. But like he said, my comments are coming from what he has said. And I would like to say that you see, if Africans we are going to be bored, I were somewhere just in this conference, we were saying that you see, your development must be clear first before you start exporting. Today we are getting to know China and because first they attended themselves first. And when their needs were taken care of, so they started expanding. So you see, and there is no way, I keep telling you, you cannot be more Catholic than the Pope. Yeah. You cannot be more Catholic than the Pope. So this Western medicine we talked about as well, we will not beat them to the game if we continue to follow it. There is need for African. You see this issue of dosage that we talked about, how many capsules, how many dose, it's a matter of experiment. It's a matter of experiment. Okay, let's start from, if you take 1 tablespoon, that will not suffice. After some time, okay, take a level. After some time, you'll be able to prescribe. And, oh, a 5-year-old will take a tablespoon, an adult, you take 2 tablespoons. And before if we are not patient, so and I do say development takes time and it takes a lot of sacrifice. And we need to be patient, so that we take ourselves in the process of development, so that we can involve our own development, be it medicine or any aspect now.
I say I see this point, and I say problem theory. From what I've gathered from the commenters, I see problem of dreams. I see problem of theory, and that was why I said I took out coloniality from the science theory, and I try to even bring a sort of like to introduce modern theory, and people are even saying what is even modern is modern or Western. I think it is a problem of literary theory, okay, in this place. And if there is no modernity, if there is no Westernization or Europeanization, then there is nothing to actually fear, because I was going to say it was a comparative analysis. Now, I saw Constance or Susan, one of the LSA and whites coming from the USA. I saw her yesterday, and she was working here when we left against our work here I think she was going to be B105. And she walked there from guest house to that place. And I asked, why you working there? And there's someone that I was working together that we call it the ground. It's a very good practice. And this is somebody we are dying. So you say she's an Europe, okay? She's coming from European or German. And she came to Africa, working there. What we Africans cannot do is what if we are transitioning we are glorifying, we are like celebrating Europeanism. And the European country, I'm working there. And I like what my guy said that you cannot be Catholic more than people. No, it is in our theory now. In our theory, to conclude my theory. Now, I'm not saying that even in this African space, there are no modernity. No. So modernity is a matter of theory, it's a matter of context of where we are coming from. So everybody is right from their own perspective.
Okay, I have one someone there. Okay. 2 minutes. 1 second.
Thank you very much.
So
let's
can
organize maybe a kind of
for all medical historians of Nigeria to meet to agree on the exam. Well, go with the teaching of another tradition, because it will be a kind of debate all the time. Students writing about medical history of using indigenous medicine or indigenous practice rather than
I would like to
traditional.
I think medical historians, they can have a conference or something like that. You can agree on that. Yeah, that's good.
Thank you. Okay, Professor Moore, I will write your names as noisemakers.
I'm actually on that task. Yes, sir.
But the beauty.
Yeah, the beauty of
Conference like this.
yeah.
It really helps.
It's really sometimes it's sometimes it's overwhelming.
Then it's overwhelming. But
That is why I said, see, it's very important. Number one, is your work with pure historical work. That's number one. Number two, if you want to be transdisciplinary, the analysis.
Yeah,
so you see, some people feel just this to help you. Because some of these contributions, I love them. But I remind you I'm your shoe. By now. You understand? Some of the questions can send you back to the archives. But you see, like, the beauty of it, like the chance the panel said, is not everything. Then, of course, but at the beginning, I mean, a lot of people have said, what is the goal of it? What's the objective? And the way it affected Kelowna is the same way it affected you. If probably you have stated the objective clearly, would have probably just be aligning it the way they are making it. Well, some of them, you're more than some people just use it to make whatever and do it, but it's a work. But as it were, your question are key matters here. So that is for me, and also the theoretical framework. But that will be informed by, because for instance, I feel that you have probably in discussing your data, you have not brought about your theory. Science is not going now. Lot of some of these will have been clear that some of them are just trying to add to what you have. You understand? That is not saying everybody is not saying so. But please, sir, don't be confused more. You understand the confusion? You understand? All of us are scholars. And we are like, I always give an example of elephant. 5 blind men describing an elephant. Touch the tusk, this is very smooth. Touch the tail, we are all describing one big thing. If we all agree. I'll give an example. When this idea, the people that are trying to support this conference, when we were somewhere else before we went to another country, people that did not agree in another country, when we went to another country, they agreed and they confronted another person about what they were fighting for. I've been trying to explain the last time, but some of us that were at the first conference just saw it as part of the discussion. So I excuse myself, we'll continue not. You understand? We can continue. So please note them down. Don't be confused. But first, with what I write, the historians among us, with them, you consider after here. So I can polish it and then you decide which one you want. That's all.
I want to say a very big thank you to the organizer of this panel, Professor Ademowo and Dr. Badru Abiodun. Thank you so much for organizing this panel, because for me, it's really interesting. And the beauty of it is that I can see that history have a lot to teach us. Yeah. And when we talk about either modernity, traditionality, indigenous, whatever, in the public health system, we need to understand our own health system that is indigenous to us, what has been the social change that has happened over time. And I think history have a lot to teach us, because I also work on medical pluralism and there's this issue with this agriculture recently on Bokonishe. And I realize that it's derogatory to some people, but it's also about social change and the rest. But not to take our time, I want to say a very big thank you to the presenters for giving us something to debate and to think about. I want to say thank you. And this panel is going to continue in the next session at 11 at B310. So I want to invite everyone to join us. No, B310. B310. I want to invite everybody to join us so that we can continue this beautiful conversation. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.